Hello, it's John Heaton. I think the summer is over and the autumn is with us, so no more videos outside, back inside here. And no special guests with me either, so it's just me. And today I'm going to review John Lennon Plastic Ono Band, which I finally reacquired on vinyl. My vinyl copy had mysteriously disappeared over the years, so I got the new issue which came out a few weeks ago. Very pleased to have it. This is the back cover, and with the words, which I never even had on my original copy. And interestingly enough, the F words on Working Class Hero are on here, whereas on the original they were asterisked out at the insistence of EMI. Now this album came out as a companion disc to Yoko's one at the same time. Subtle difference, a bit more shade in there, a bit more sun for John. And the back covers. So the musicianship on both albums was identical, more or less, apart from Yoko was singing vocals on hers and John's vocals on his. Ringo Starr is on drums, Klaus Voormann is on bass, and John's on guitar and piano, and that's it. Apart from a couple of tracks where one track where Billy Preston plays piano and one track where Phil Spector plays a bit of piano. So this, if push comes to shove, objectively speaking, I would stick my head out and say it's probably the best Beatles solo album. A few others run it close, but I think this is the best. One is not always in the mood to listen to it, because it's quite harrowing and very personal, and it was the result of the primal scream therapy that John was doing with Arthur Janoff. But it's very gripping, and lyrically it's superb, and the tunes, as John said at the time, he's not even known for writing tunes much, but some of the tunes on this album are gorgeous. So it opens with Mother, which is a very heartbreaking and heartfelt track about his childhood and how unhappy it was. Great minimalist production, bass from Klaus, Ringo from drumming, and a superb vocal from John. I think he's singing on this album better than on any of the Beatles albums. I think his voice is in absolutely superb abrasive form, and he really screams the coda, and it sends a tingle down your spine when you hear it. Brilliant. Next track is Hold On, and very nice, again, minimalist production. I think it's a kind of electric guitar stroke keyboard that he's playing on this, and very nice personal words, just to cleave, for the world to hold on and Yoko to hold on. It's going to be all right. Very positive words. And then I found out is as a song it's not much, but it drives along very nicely and features some great guitar from John. He wasn't the best lead guitarist in the world, but he was an ace rhythm guitarist, and he really proves it on this track. And the words are, again, quite bitter about stardom and his experiences with drugs and religion. Quite bitter, and then continues in that vein with Working Class Hero, which is a song about his childhood, and it's just him on acoustic, and just fantastic. I'm not going to quote the words, but take a listen to the song if you haven't heard it. It is superb. Probably rightly wasn't a single. I mean, not much of this album is single material, but as a body of work, it flows very nicely together. And actually, if you take any of these tracks off this album and play them individually, they kind of don't work quite as well. So it's best to listen to this album, if you're going to listen to it, from start to finish when you're in the mood, okay? Which isn't every day, because it's quite upsetting, some of it. Then side 2 opens with Remember, which is a great piano track. Oh, I missed out Isolation, which ends side 1 which is a great piano track, which is a piano ballad. And as Klaus Bormann pointed out in the documentary about this album, very nice chord changes from John. I mean, he couldn't read sheet music, so he wasn't trained properly on the piano, but he had the feel for chords on the piano, and that chord sequence he comes up with at the beginning of Isolation is unique and just brilliant, and very nice tune on this track. Very nice tune. And then remember Open Side 2, and this is an up-tempo piano track, and I think it's absolutely brilliant, and especially the chorus. Don't feel sorry, the way it's gone, don't you worry. Don't feel sorry about the way it's gone, don't you worry about what you've done. Great bass playing from Klaus, and another thing to point out on this is the Great White Apple. Nice 180 gram vinyl, can't see it on the video, but it feels nice to have the heavyweight vinyl. And then Remember ends with Remember the 5th of November, which is when Guy Fawkes tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament. And then it continues with Love, which is possibly John's best ballad ever, or certainly in his top 5, melody-wise, melody-wise, lyric-wise, and just some great piano from Phil Spector at the beginning and in the end. Very heartwarming song. I remember at the time when Real Love came out, the Beatles track, the BBC DJ Chris Evans said, "Real love, not good, but if you want real love, listen to this," and he played the track Love. You know, I get the fact that Real Love's not as good as Love, but anyway, I still think Real Love is decent. And then after Real Love comes Well, 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 which features some very primitive guitar from John and some screaming lyrics. Possibly the last minute of the song, it might go on a bit too long and the screaming gets a little bit over the top. But it's certainly in tune with the rest of the album. Probably my least favourite though, if I had to choose a least favourite. Then Look at Me is an acoustic number, which actually dates from the time of the White Album. And very nice tune, similar in style to Julia, very personal words. Which brings us on to God, which features the immortal lines all the way through really. Starts off with God is a concept about which we measure our pain. I'll say it again, God is a concept about which we measure our pain. Billy Preston is playing piano. Very nice tune again. And such a nice tune, you think this is going to be a really pleasant track, and then quite quickly it descends into a whole list of all the things he doesn't believe in. And starts off, you know, with people like Hitler, and then it gets a bit nearer the mark with Jesus, and then Kennedy, and then Elvis, and he's working his way up, and then Zimmerman, which is Dylan. And then he rather traumatically ends with, I don't believe in Beatles. I just believe in me, Yoko and me, and that's reality. And then he proceeds to sing the last verse. The dream is over. What can I say? The dream is over yesterday. I was the dream weaver, but now I'm reborn. I was the walrus, but now I'm John. And so, dear friends, you'll just have to carry on. The dream is over. And that is actually about the most eloquent way any of the Beatles could have talked about the split. Unfortunately, within 3 weeks of this album coming out, Paul McCartney took the others to court to dissolve the Beatles' partnership, and John recorded an interview with Jan Wenner in New York where he completely slagged off the Beatle period, and in particular Paul McCartney. So I think John had it right the first time with this song, the way he says, so dear friends, you'll have to carry on. But unfortunately the following year, 1971, saw a lot of public bickering, which was in pretty bad taste, most of it. But that doesn't detract in any way from this album. It's a 5-star classic, and as I said at the beginning, I think it's the best Beatles solo project. Other Beatles solo albums may run it close, but I think at the end of the day this is the best. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next time.